All right, so picture this. You're all set for like the ultimate coding showdown, right? Right. But here's the twist. Your opponent isn't another human. It's AI. And not just any AI. We're talking about AlphaCode. That's the AI we're going to be breaking down in this deep dive. You guys know we love to get our hands dirty with the latest AI research. And this time, it's all about how AI is stepping into, well, actually trying to dominate the world of competitive programming. Now, this research paper we're diving into, it's called An Empirical Evaluation of Competitive Programming AI, a case study of AlphaCode. Catchy, right? But honestly, the title's a mouthful, but the implications, they're huge. We're talking about AI potentially changing the game for software development as we know it. I mean, imagine software that practically writes itself.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you should say that because it really is a hot topic right now. And to really get a grasp on just how significant AlphaCode could be, we really need to step back for a second and understand the arena that it's trying to compete in, which is competitive programming. So think of it like the ultimate coding showdown. Yeah, you're given these incredibly complex problems, and the goal is to write code that solves them faster, more efficiently, more elegantly than anyone else. It takes some serious brain power, logic, deep understanding of algorithms.
So those coding marathons you hear about, right? Where those guys are practically surviving on energy drinks and just sheer willpower, mental stamina.
Exactly. High pressure environment. Yeah, where even the tiniest little slip up in your code, that can cost you the win.
So we're talking AI going for the gold in that kind of arena. Man, talk about pressure.
Right. And what makes AlphaCode even more interesting, well, at least to me, it comes from DeepMind. These are the same people, the geniuses behind AlphaGo.
Oh, wow.
Which, if you remember, that's the AI that made history by beating a world champion Go player.
Yeah.
So, expectations are already sky high for what AlphaCode can pull off. But, it's not alone in this whole AI code generation game, right? There are others out there, like Codex. That's the engine behind GitHub Copilot, for example. And they're all kind of vying for a spot in this new era of AI-generated code,
It's like a whole new breed of coding gladiators, all powered by AI.
Oh.
This is getting good.
Oh.
Okay, so we've got AI all ready to take the stage in these coding Olympics, right? But I'm curious, how do you even start testing something like AlphaCode? It's not like we can just ask it to spill its secrets, right?
Yeah, it's not like they just hand over the AI playbook or anything. The researchers didn't actually have access to the inner workings of AlphaCode, so they had to get creative with their approach, So
how'd they pull that off?
Well, they focused on two big questions to kind of size up AlphaCode. First, they wanted to know, was it just copying code? And second, even if the code was original, was it actually any good?
Okay, so two-part challenge, I like it.
Yeah.
So how'd they figure out if AlphaCode was just a really good copycat?
Right. So to tackle that first question, they basically had to play detective. They gathered up 44 solutions that AlphaCode had generated. These were in C++ and Python, by the way, to pretty popular programming languages. And then they compared these solutions to this huge database, over 31,000 human-written solutions.
Whoa, hold on. 31,000?
Yep, all from Codeforces.
So basically they were checking to see if AlphaCode was just spitting out code it had seen before, right? Kind of like a super advanced version of copy and paste.
Yeah, exactly. They used some really sophisticated plagiarism detection to see if there were any blatant ripoffs.
Okay, makes sense. But then there's that second question. How do you actually grade AI on its coding skills?
Yeah, so that's where the performance testing came in. And this is where it gets really interesting.
Hit me with it.
So they designed these crazy hard coding challenges.
Like an obstacle course, but for code.
Basically. The goal was to see how AlphaCode's solutions would actually hold up against human-written code. In terms of speed, efficiency,
So it wasn't enough for the code to just, work, right?
Yeah.
It had to be, quick, efficient, basically how it would be judged in a real competition.
Yeah, you got it. Every millisecond counts in competitive programming.
High stakes.
And to be super sure they had accurate results, they didn't just run each solution once, they ran each one 100 times.
Wow. They were serious about getting this right. All right, so they put AlphaCode through the ringer 100 times over. What came out the other side? Okay, so AlphaCode's been through the gauntlet, yeah?
Yeah.
What's the verdict? Did it survive?
Well, the results were kind of interesting, to say the least.
I don't like where this is going.
So on the plagiarism front, it wasn't just straight up copying chunks of code. It wasn't just going Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V from some, code library.
Phew, dodging a bullet there.
Right. But here's the thing. Only a tiny fraction of the code it generated, we're talking 3% to 9%, was actually unique.
Wow, 3 to 9%. That's pretty small.
Yeah.
So more like AlphaCode's a really good remix artist, right? Taking bits and pieces, putting them together in new ways.
Yeah, kind of like a coding DJ, if you will.
I like it. But, okay, what about the code's performance? Like, did it actually work? Was it efficient?
Right. So it definitely worked. Like, it wasn't spitting out gibberish or anything.
Okay, that's a start.
But it wasn't always, how do I put this, elegant. Especially on those really complex challenges.
So it choked a little when things got tough.
You could say that. Often ended up using way more memory or taking much longer to run compared to, the human written code.
Almost like it was like overthinking it,
Yeah, exactly. Like it was adding in all these extra steps, extra code that it didn't really need.
You know what? That actually makes me feel a little bit better. Even AI makes those like classic coding blunders. We've all been there.
Right. Makes you wonder, like, is it picking up bad habits from all the human code it's learned from?
Maybe AI isn't so different after all, huh? But you said it wasn't always outperformed, right? So there were times when it actually, like, held its own.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Especially on those kind of simpler problems.
Got it. So it aced the easier stuff.
Yeah, it was like it found those really clever, elegant solutions that you see, and you're like, wow, that's smart.
So like flashes of brilliance, even if it wasn't, consistent.
Exactly. And get this, there were a handful of problems where, get this, it generated the exact same solutions as the humans.
No way. Talk about a coincidence.
Right. And you want to know the interesting part?
Lay it on me.
These were all problems with a lower difficulty rating.
Interesting. So it was like it had mastered the textbook stuff.
Yeah.
But when it came to the really out there problems.
Yeah, it wasn't quite there yet.
Fascinating stuff. So where does this all leave us? What's the takeaway here?
Well, I think the big question is, what does this mean for the future of coding, right?
Right. I mean, we have AI that can write code, even if it's not perfect.
Yeah.
What does that mean for, someone who's just starting out or even seasoned programmers?
Yeah, it's definitely still early days, but the potential is huge.
I mean, can you imagine?
Like, imagine having an AI coding buddy, helping you squash those bugs, optimize your code, maybe even brainstorm new approaches to a problem.
It'd be like having a 24/7 coding tutor, always there to help you out.
Exactly.
Sounds pretty amazing.
We got to remember, AI code generators, they're tools.
Right, just like any other tool. Got to use them responsibly.
Exactly. So things like critical thinking, code review, that's going to be even more important, especially as AI starts playing a bigger role in how we build software.
So it's not about AI replacing humans. It's about, like, AI and humans working together.
Absolutely. Yeah. The best of both worlds, right?
Exactly. Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of AlphaCode and this whole new world of AI-generated code. It's been a wild ride, hasn't it?
It really has.
Always amazing to see what AI is cooking up these days. From going head-to-head with Go champions to now writing code. Who knows what they'll teach AI to do next?
Right. It's an exciting time to be following AI, that's for sure.
Absolutely. As always, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep those questions coming, and we'll catch you in the next one.